Okay guys, my views on the top 10 positions in the Mr O. About 24 hours late with this review, but I wanted to have a little bit of time to let it sink in and gather my thoughts on this. Now, apologies up front, I'll be using a lot of photos from the pre-judging, only because I couldn't find enough good ones of the finals. But look, here we go. In 10th place was COMPTON. Now, he's improved from Friday, a little bit tighter. He's got a great out-ahead sweep on his quads, really large arms. However, his lats are a bit high and conditioning could have been better. I had him behind Victor and Diasha. So I had him out of the 10. I thought Dexter in particular was very well conditioned, and while he doesn't have a perfect physique, he's got some very strong body parts, and I would have had him at 10th. In 9th place was Josh. I won't even try saying his last name because I mess it up all the time. He brought in super hard conditioning both days. On conditioning alone, I had him ahead of Carver and CEDRIC, so I had him as high as 7th. While he hasn't got my favourite physique out there, there is little to criticise about it really. He's got really good back and legs. He's got the great conditioning, and I think if he could just fill out his arms a bit more and through the shoulders, bring that same level of hardness, he could be a real legitimate top 5 threat. And you know, as this was his rookie showing, a 9th is a very respectable and impressive position, and maybe he's just paying his dues for next year. So look, we'll see. If a little bit larger, he could be one to watch in 2017. 8th position is Dallas McCarver. He looked a lot better on Saturday than he did on Friday, and probably upper position if he had to come in same condition both days. On Saturday he was a lot fuller and more vascular, and he looked really good in the close-ups, this is one of the things I didn't like about him. I just thought he could have had a bit of a darker tan and less oil. From the distance shots he just looked a bit washed out and shiny in the heavy lights. So I don't know. That's how I saw it on the camera. Saw it on the film I saw, so it could have just been me. If it was there on the day, it might have been a different story. But there were times I saw him when he wasn't posing or in comparisons, he was just looked a little bit too relaxed. I would have liked to see him be obvious to him that he's always got to be always on point and always being compared, even if he's not in direct comparison with someone. Maybe that's a lack of competitive experience. He hasn't done much in the way of shows so far, but this guy's got stacks of muscle. He's a really young guy. He's got the height and the structure to even hold more muscle, and if he makes the same improvements, so the level of improvements that he made from last year, this guy is going to be a nightmare next year. If you can bring in a bit more detail, especially in the back, and dials it in on both days, he's going to be top 5, no question in my mind. He's a future mistake, this fella. Number 7, CEDRIC. CEDRIC looked better Saturday than Friday for me, a bit tighter. He's got some of the best proportions in the show, there's no question about it. I have him on par with Rhoden in terms of aesthetic appeal, but he's bigger than Rhoden. He's got few weaknesses and he poses really well. And it was obvious he was disappointed with his position, but I thought it was probably a fair call. I'm yet to see him come in looking freaky hard, and I think if he could find out what the key is to that, if he came in looking as tight as Josh did, for example, same condition in muscularity, he will be a scary person. But I don't know, maybe it's just he can't do it, I don't know. Sixth place was Rolly. Oh, Rolly looked really good. I felt he just lost a touch of sharpness on from Friday to Saturday. Once he got a bit tired, he seemed to be relaxing his stomach a little bit too much at Saturday for me. And he's got potential to maybe step up a place or so if he's tighter. Now, I don't know if he's going to get too much higher than that just because of his structure. I thought some of the front poses with his arms elevated, double biceps, lat spreads, he doesn't look great, and I think he loses those poses to a lot of the field. But look, in saying this, he's awesome to watch. He's a real crowd pleaser. He's just so big. This was his best showing by far at the AO. I'm glad he got a decent placing. I want to see him back again for sure. Fifth place BONAC. He came in looking pretty much exactly as he did on Friday. He's super full, really defined, crazy muscle everywhere. For me, he's the only one that can be compared with from the back with Phil. My concerns with BONAC is that I don't know how he could have come in any better. His condition was probably the best in the field, and his muscle was extremely dense. The fifth place in the Olympia is nothing to be considered a failure by any means. But I don't know that he can do anything more to get any higher. I can't see him putting any more muscle on his frame without losing the appeal of his frame. He's super big. He's 227, about 5'5.5", I think his height was. I would prefer to actually see him drop 15 pounds to the 212 division, and I reckon he would really shine there. But you know, the Open is the big show, and it's a sought after prize, so it'd be hard to step it back. Big Ramy, Friday to Saturday, it was basically two different competitions for me. I don't know how much size or weight he put on, but his upper body was far more fuller, while he still maintained a really good conditioning from Friday, where he was looking small and flat on Fridays, particularly through the arms. He was behind BONAC after the first day, and he's got ahead of him into fourth. Look, if he brought in the same second day package that he brought in the first, that he could bring that same package in on the Friday, he may have pressed for third place. I wouldn't have him second due to his leg disparity, but in some poses he was as good as anyone on Saturday. He looked really good. Best I've seen him. Dexter, sharp as usual, maybe marginally more outer sweep to thighs than in previous years, but no outstanding changes. I had him ahead of Rhoden, even though I thought Dexter brought a better package last year than this. Don't get me wrong, he looked very good, and we all expect that from Dexter. Problem with the long-term competitors, high-level competitors anyway, is that they get compared with themselves in previous competitions. This has been said before. Louis Marco commented on it as well. And I think he wasn't as good as last year. And if he's not at his 100% best, look, this guy's he's never far from it, even a couple of percentages down. I think that comparison works against him because he's always so good. Rhoden, second place. Front on looked great, but conditioning was off slightly. This was more apparent from the side, where I thought his stomach was slightly descended and a little watery, and I had that for both days really. He also lacked the depth in his physique from the side poses that some of the thicker guys had. From the back, his condition was fine, but he lacked detail and thickness in that back of his. He can't win this competition against Phil. At 41 years of age, how can he bring it up to the same level? I don't think he can. He has an elegant and classic physique. but he hasn't got the personality or the freaky size for what I look for in a Mr O. Personally, I had him in 5th place, so a long way off 2nd place. I really think this is a personal choice, and you know, if they mark by the rules, he's probably 2nd, but not for me. Phil Heath, 1st place. This was easy's best condition I've seen him in a few years, and maybe the best condition ever for him. He was big, he was really defined, he had great muscularity, vascularity. Every pose was very good. Even his weaker poses from previous years, I thought he was right up there with these guys. From the front, he was equal, if not ahead of everyone. From the back, it was pretty much by himself. The back itself, I thought he was about equal with BONAC, but for the glutes, hams and calves combo, Phil is all by himself. Look, obviously he did his homework this year. His conditioning was spot on, and it was, to me, as comfortable as a win as I've seen in the Olympia for quite a while. There was no controversy with this one. Overall, this was an interesting, albeit not that exciting, Mr Olympia for me. I think primarily because I was really excited about Kevin Lerone's return, and sadly that didn't live up to the hype. Interesting that there was a couple of perennial top 10 finishes who were not there, and that's Wolf and Branch. And it's interesting to know what impact they would have had to the top 10. With all respect, I would have had Branch outside the top 10 this year. I wouldn't have had him close to the top 10. Probably would have had him 13th or 14th even. Wolf, who knows. A couple of new guys were exciting though. Diasha and Josh brought it big time as rookies. And I didn't rate either before the show I was doing anything, and they both really surprised me. So it's a bright future for these guys, providing they stay healthy. Dallas was big and he's going to be something that for years to come. Definitely the most improved bodybuilder anyone out there. I know BONAC moved a few places, but I thought he was really good last year, and he's just really hard done by. And because it was almost immediately obvious, as soon as Phil walked out, that he was a winner. So there wasn't that tension from previous years because I really thought it was a closer call than most said between him and Dexter last year, but not this year. He's just by miles at best. One thing that sort of bugged me throughout this, Louis Marco's, again, I've heard him mention this, was the commentary. It really was giving me the shits. Dennis James, he knows what he's talking about. He's been in the game. He's quite eloquent in how he talks. He knew what was going. He knew the history of the sport. He knew the history of the last year and the competitors in the competition. He knew the physiques, and he made good comments. This other guy with him, who is a bloody editor for quite a few muscle magazines, I just don't think he's got the knowledge to be up there. Look, anyone can go up there and talk a load of crap, but he made so many rookie errors on factual things as well as comparative comments. Look, I don't know everything about the sport, but I know enough that he was making mistakes, and it was irritating to me, and I'm sure it irritated a lot of players out there. This is supposed to be a professional sport. Get professionals to do it. So anyway, look, that's my little bugbear about it. But look, that's it for the year. Okay, so another year to wait. See you later.